Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Ross Benjamin of rbwins.com, and like every Thursday, I'm joined by that handsome gentleman on the other side of me, Mr. Doug Upstone of docsports.com, one of the finest handicappers you'll find anywhere, folks, and also a great writer, by the way. You could check out some of Doug's articles, I'm sure, at Doc Sports and anywhere else Doug wants to tell you to find him. Doug?
Yeah, the bookmaker review. That's where most of the rest of them are, and got a I've been told a interesting or a good number of reads that they get regularly. Basically, it's like a column, I guess.
Yeah.
It's called the Pulse, and do it 3 days a week. Typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This week had a change it up to go Monday, Thursday, Friday, but one's posted up there today. And so it's bookmakerreview.com. And so, yeah, it's fun. It's actually, I really enjoy doing it, to be perfectly honest. It's something a little bit different, and it's sports betting, but it's also other topics, and, get to throw in some personal opinions like we do talking this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Doug's a fabulous writer, folks. So you want to check him out. Again, Doug, the site, I'm sorry, is
bookmakerreview.com.
Bookmakerreview.com. I'll have to check that out. If you haven't read any of Doug's articles and you want to educate yourself more in the sports betting avenue, then I would highly encourage to do so. All right, Doug. Well, the NFL preseason is almost here, buddy. We're going to have a couple NFL regular season win totals for the folks near the end of this video. But before we get to that, we're just going to talk about a little bit about NFL preseason handicapping. The Hall of Fame game is next Thursday, the 4th, usually a snooze fest, a high degree of unders in those games. But anyway, not to get carried away, can you share your thoughts on how you approach it and how you've evolved your approach to NFL preseason handicapping as the years have progressed?
Absolutely. Well, I will start by saying that in the early, actually going back to the 90s, and when I was just doing betting on my own, and when I started getting into the other aspect of preseason of handicapping myself at this level, is that I hated NFL preseason. I didn't touch it. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was ignorant. But guess what? I thought, I got to figure this out. Okay, instead of just being, taking a position and just sticking with it for the rest of my life, let's do something. So I did. And so I went to work. I did some research, went back a few years, and I can proudly say since 2008, I have hit 59% of my preseason plays. Okay.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
So that's documented, by the way. That's not just me throwing out a number and saying whatever it is. So it's been very good. And it's very simplistic, but it is changing. And you and I can talk about that in a minute. But the thing that the two things that I'm following today now more than ever, and this was based on going from 4 games down to 3, is that to follow coaching trends, there are certain teams and certain coaches who either want to win the preseason, typically first-year coaches, for example. Okay, that's a good one. Or some other coaches like to win. Pete Carroll is another example, who likes to win basically every game. And there are those that don't care at all. The Dallas Cowboys, a perfect example. Okay, long history of failure in the preseason. That goes back to Tom Landry. In fact, if you want to talk, old school stuff, that goes back to him. Just never mattered. Just wanted to get the team prepared to play for the regular season. That's the number one thing I follow is coaches. Number 2, which has gotten harder, is that to find information. Not that many years ago, I would say within the last 8 years, probably, is that coaches would willingly tell the press what their plans were for a particular game. Okay, you could find it anywhere. It was very easy to look up, and so you could base your selections, and it was trustworthy enough, I felt, that you could do that. Now everything's tightened up. Okay, is so and so star gonna play? Well, we're thinking about the first quarter for him, but they don't tell you, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So that's become more difficult. So to that end, Ross, I think those, for me at least, those are the 2 most important things. There used to be other things I followed, which we can talk about, but those are the 2 most important things I have going into every week of the preseason. Now, how about yourself?
Yeah, I can't disagree whatsoever with the head coaching philosophy during preseason. I call it a philosophy. Like you just said, Pete Carroll, if they're keeping score, he wants to win. Yeah, a couple of things to look at when it comes to the head coach and his preseason record. You might even want to go back to his preseason record at a previous stop. There's a few coaches in the league that have had head coaching jobs in more than one city, sometimes as many as three. So you want to check on that as well. And then the big thing, like Doug said about information not readily available like it's been in previous years, he's right. But what I found to be the most reliable information are from those teams' beat writer themselves, because they are brutally honest and they can care less if they can get any kind of hint or leak. They're going to let the public know, and then make sure those leaks are reliable. I mean, if look up, search that guy, see what kind of reputation he has, etc. Most times than not, if a guy's covering an NFL team and he's their beat writer, he's working for a major publication, and they're not going to tolerate any shenanigans. So again, that's what I would look at. And also, I like to look at our lads and look at the NFL depth chart. And why I say that, for example, again, some teams have a lot more quality depth than others. And when you get into quality depth in the preseason, you got to remember you're going into their second and third team choices. And, especially the first preseason game. Normally in the first preseason game, a majority of head coaches like to play their starters one or two series, especially offensively, get some reps and then get them the hell out of there, especially with trying to protect their starting quarterback. So you want to check on that. I'll give you a perfect example only because it's close to home. The Buffalo Bills. I mean, when you look at what Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane has done over the last 4 years or so, I mean, this is a team that's made the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years, but really a legitimate playoff contender the last couple of years. And what's steadily improved is their quality of depth, to the point that it's widely publicized that there's only going to be 5 or 6 slots open to make the team. In other words, they're looking at 46 players that are absolute locks, and the other 6 openings are going to come from a vast array of people who won't make the team. So check out that quality depth as well. Make sure that you look at these writers and starting quarterback rotations. I pay a lot of attention to as well. If a quarterback's going for a half and the other starting quarterback is not playing, I look at that. And of course, it's all built into the line. But Mike Zimmer was a perfect example of a guy who wanted to win too, Doug. He had an outstanding NFL preseason record when he was the head coach of Minnesota between 2014 and 2021. Now he got a new regime. So that's my take on it, Doug. Doug, how you been doing of late? And tell the people all about your page at Doc Sports.
Yes, baseball has, it's been, as I mentioned before, it's been a little up and down, but we're in an uptrend right now. We've hit 62% of Major League Baseball plays. In the last 10 days, there has been baseball. So that's, like I said, been a nice uptick in that vein. And as it turns out tonight, I got a 6-unit best bet going on Thursday night. So if you happen to see this before 7 Eastern, then you can maybe check it out, okay, at the Doug Upstone page at Doc Sports. Coming off a really strong week in horse racing, Ross had a real nice week, changed some things up. Had been a little bit of a slump, which is not hard to do in horse racing, I might add.
Yeah.
But no, just changed a few things up, simplified it, and, coming off a nice week. So, and I'll have some picks this upcoming weekend for sure. And, you mentioned preseason football. That's coming up hard and it's coming up fast. And I've done extremely well, like I said, in hitting 59% over, 13 years in the preseason. So happy with that, proud of that, and see if I can continue that and just take the, many of the things we just discussed, here. And some of the other things that Ross brought up are I like, and I do follow, like the quarterback rotation. I'm not as deep into that from that standpoint, but something's definitely you should pay attention to if you're looking to win consistently in the preseason. So, got a couple different things going our way, and just looking at the, I heard Mike Tirico yesterday, that Hall of Fame game. he's been studying. He's at the Rocket Mortgage golf tournament this weekend, which is in Detroit, which is near where he lives. And he says the rosters for the Hall of Fame game, he has to be familiar with all 92 players on each team.
Yeah, that's a monumental task, right? For those
And of course, probably no more than 50 will play, maybe 60. But you got to know them all in case they get into the game. So that's just something have to consider, and that's among the reasons why, as Ross mentioned, that game is typically an under, because you got so many moving parts going and trying to get guys in and out to get them any playing time to see if there's anything there. So it's just a different deal altogether. Now, how have you been doing, Ross? Just across the board?
It's been a struggle for me since I ended the All-Star break on a nice 4-1 run, a week, game of the week and a game of the month winner during that stretch. And then since I came out of the All-Star break, but it'll turn around. It's just I continue to struggle trying to handicap all these big lines. I won't give out those big favorites, and I know you do on occasion, but that's why we have our own style. So it will turn around. It always does. It always will. So I would keep an eye going forward. As a matter of fact, I don't know about you, Doug, on occasion, when I'm on a bad stretch, I will take a day off. And today I took a pass, not because I didn't even look at the card. You need to reset and go at it again tomorrow. And again, you could find me at rbwins.com. My NFL preseason, by the way, folks, I'm not 59%, I'm 57% since 2012. If you do the math, they had even $100 a game just based on 100 selections during that course of time. 57% and 59% is going to make you a lot of money during the NFL preseason. In addition to, I've had 3 top 10 finishes at sportscapping.com, a site that has over 75 handicappers, and I finished in the top 10 in the NFL preseason 1, 2, 3 times since 2012. So you got a couple guys here who have a very good track history in the NFL preseason. You want to check out Doug at docsports.com, myself, rbwins.com. Doug, we're going to be covering we covered the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. As a matter of fact, I did. Went under the total of 8.5 on the Cardinals, by the way, Doug. Interested to hear your take there. Also, we're going to be covering today. Doug is going to take a difficult task. He's going to take on the LA Rams. And why I say that is because they're the world champions, and world champions seems to always be overvalued, probably second only to the team that loses the Super Bowl. Okay, so anyway, and I'm going to be covering the San Francisco 49ers. Take it away, Doug.
Well, one thing I just want to follow on something that you said. I think it's extremely important, and this is something that people get involved in. I am a huge proponent of it. I congratulate you for taking the day off today, Ross, from baseball, because you know what? There is nothing better than to clear your head. When we talked before the All-Star break, being able to be off, enjoy that break, and and all that stuff, that helps. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to do that, and to just keep grinding away and getting the same results, that doesn't do you any good. So to take a day off, go do something, or do something that you would like to do. Like I watched Get Back. I finally got to it. So watched that about the Beatles. It was, it was interesting. Not the best thing, a little overrated, I thought, but still it was entertaining. And hey, kind of clears your head, clears your mind.
Watch a movie.
Think about something
your mind
else.
off of sports. Yep.
Absolutely. No, I think it's a great thing you did there, and I commend you for doing it. And I've done it many times myself.
Doug, let me just interject for 1 second. Sure. I had to share this with you because I didn't share it with you off air. Monday, this typified the week. Monday, I had the Cubs game under 8.
Okay.
1-1 after 9 innings.
That's right.
The Cubs scored 5 in the top of the inning. I can't remember who they played at this point.
Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah, they scored a run in the bottom of the inning, and the game ended 6-2. I pushed, but it felt like a bad loss, Doug.
Oh yeah, those. I mean, a push. The push has the qualities of going both ways.
Yes.
But when it's like that, that's just ugly.
I thought of you.
And it happened in extra innings.
I thought of you, overtime and extra innings. I got to start writing this stuff down, right? So,
Interesting that that would happen. Um,
yeah, you know, it's not a conspiracy. The world's not against me, but hey, it was a tough beat. Anyway, go ahead,
no
Doug.
question. All right, now the Los Angeles Rams, you think this is a hard play? Well, actually, Ross, I think this is an easy play. Now, among the things that are out there on the Rams right now, depending on the sports book, like OSGA follows a number of the top offshore sports books, and Bovada happens to be one of them. And right now, Bovada's odds are plus 1,100, which is the fifth overall choice to win the Super Bowl. The Rams are also plus 500 to win the NFC, which is third. And of course, they're favored to win their division at plus 125. Their season win total is 10.5. However, that's actually flipped a little bit. It was 10.5 juiced to the under originally. Since I probably was a month ago, I'm guessing, or maybe 3 weeks ago, it's now juiced to the over on that. So what's going on here? Why did it change? Well, the Rams last season, they went all in to win the Super Bowl. We all know that. They made the trades. They went after, they're one of the few teams that has done that probably in recent history. And I think they knew that that was their time. But what happens though? Teams, win the Super Bowl. Well, unless you're Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to repeat, okay, that's probably not going to happen. But this team, you got Sean McVay as coach, driven individual. He's never going to let up. Sure, he enjoyed himself in the offseason. He should have, okay? Did everything. Is he a great coach on the sidelines in games? Has his moments, okay? But this is a formidable squad. They're bringing back 16 of their 22 starters. They lost Whitworth as left tackle, but, I think he was 40 years old. I mean, he wasn't going to go on forever. They got just say a reasonable replacement, and they've turned back again more towards being a running team. So I think they'll be able to just pick up where they left off with that. Now, Matthew Stafford, he still has Cooper Kupp. They added Allen Robinson from the Bears. They still have a lot of working parts, okay? And their tight end situation should be better, and they should using their tight ends, is what I'm trying to say, more than they did in the first part of last year. So I like that. Does Stafford throw some balls up each and every game that are interceptable? Absolutely. But this is still a very good offense, and I think they'll be strong. Defensively, you got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, the two best players at their position in the NFL. Now, the schedule, Ross, it's going to be tough. They won their division. Everything that goes along with it. But you look at Seattle and San Francisco, quarterback changes, significant quarterback changes. That could be 4 wins right there. All right. So you're looking at 10.5. I think the bet here is the over 10.5 on the Rams. I'm not saying they're going to be the Super Bowl champions. Nothing of the sort. But I think they win their division. I would bet that. And I would also do the 10.5 on that one. I think the Rams are golden on this one.
Very good. So Doug likes the Rams over 10.5 regular season wins. Again, he's not telling you they're going to win the Super Bowl again, but if you're an 11 plus win team, you always have a legitimate shot, pending injury. And Seattle, yeah, I mean, Geno Smith at quarterback. Trey Lance, it's first time, I'm going to talk about San Francisco, but I can't disagree with that. Doug, you said something interesting is they went all in and they went for it last year. And you said that, I believe you brought up some history in that regard. I would say they're one of the few teams that really went all in, and a small minority of teams that do that end up winning it all, so
right.
It's not an exact science. Just because you spent the most money, just because you brought in some brand name players via trade or whatever have you, doesn't assure that you're going to gel and the chemistry is going to be there. And if you don't believe me, just look at the Cincinnati Bengals last year. No brand name players except you. I guess you could say Joe Burrow. I guess you could say their star wide receiver that was a rookie, but there you go. So it's not an exact science. All right. So I'm going to look at the San Francisco 49ers, Doug. And like I alluded to just a minute ago, Trey Lance, this will be his team now. Jimmy Garoppolo is out of the picture. He's still technically a 49er, but they're so sure that they're going to be able to unload him that they told him not even to report to training camp. So what a slap in the face. The guy gets you to the NFC Championship game a year ago, and San Francisco was a very good team last season. They especially gelled well during the playoffs. Let's not forget, this is a 49ers team a season ago that beat the Rams in both regular season matchups, and then they advanced to the NFC Championship game where they lost to the Rams on the road by a narrow 20-17 margin. Their non-division schedule this year leaves a lot to be desired. Their non-division away schedule, those 5 teams have a combined record of 30-45, and 4 of the 5 teams finished with a losing record. And if you look at last year's opponents in which they, if you look at their opponents this season and their win percentage from last year, their opponents this season had a combined win percentage last year of .533, and that's the 5th highest in the NFL. However, I go back to, I trust the odds makers more than past results, more than anything else. And when I look at the odds makers and the projected win totals on each team this year, now give or take a half a game or so. I mean, some might have a over and under total at 10, another may have it at 10.5. Having said that, when you add up the regular season win totals for San Francisco opponents for this upcoming 2022 and 2023 season, it adds up to 144.5, and that equates to the 17th toughest schedule in the NFL, which means it's middle of the road in terms of toughness. And I look for them to take advantage of that. I mean, Seattle looks to me like it's going to be a given for all teams in that division to sweep. And then it's a matter of just getting a split in the other 4 games for 49ers, a weak non-division away schedule. I bring up non-division away because when you're at home in non-division games and you're a quality team, you should win, okay? Or you're going to win a majority of the time. And I consider San Francisco a quality team. They went 10-7 last year, underachieved a bit, caught fire at the end, and advanced to the NFC Championship game. I think they're in store for a very good regular season campaign this year. I see them going head-to-head with the Rams for that NFC West division title. And I like the San Francisco 49ers at over the regular season win total of 10 at money line odds of +100. And Doug Upstone, he likes the LA Rams over 10.5 regular season wins. So a couple of overs in the NFC West, in which obviously we both think those 2 teams are unequivocally the best in the division. So, and if you listen to my Arizona recap yesterday, I went under 8.5 with them. So I'm not really overly enamored with Arizona, Doug.
Yeah, there's plenty to wonder about, and I still like the thing they put in Kyler Murray's contract. I know that around here they're trying to poo-poo it as saying it's nothing, but that one of the things he has to study film in his playbook more. I just thought that was an interesting add-in on someone's contract.
That's more or less read between the lines there. They felt that he wasn't prepared enough.
I don't think it's even read between the lines. I think it's a flashing red sign.
I was being conservative in my comment there.
Yeah, I understand.
Listen, here's the thing, and I'm going to end it with this, and I don't want to bore them. They already listened to me on the Arizona Cardinals yesterday, but as opposed to a Josh Allen, a Justin Herbert, a Joe Burrow, those guys are ascending. Okay, yep. They have not reached their ceiling, and you may make a case for a couple of them have an endless ceiling. When I look at Kyler Murray in his style of play, his size, better than average arm strength, but I don't think it's as good as the other quarterbacks I just mentioned. I just get the feeling he's reached the ceiling already, Doug. That doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. He's still going to be exciting, but I just don't see his ascension continuing to go in an upward direction kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could rise some, but here's my question, and I don't know who I talked to this about the other day, but if let's just say I would say to me, he's about 12th. Okay, in terms of starting quarterbacks, right around in that range.
Yeah.
And so my question is, if Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady were not on the list, how much higher would you put him? Okay, so even is he really even a top 10 quarterback? I think it's debatable. And if he is,
It's
he's
close.
at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, he's like I said, I no way, shape, or form are implying that he's not a good quarterback. He is.
Right.
I just don't feel like he's going to ascend at the rate as a Justin Herbert, a Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow, and whoever else who knows? We'll see Trey Lance this year. He may even fall into that category because it's going to be his first time around. But
Right.
anyway, Doug, always a pleasure, my friend. You're going to be back with me twice a week pretty soon. And we'll discuss that later. But I'm going to be back tomorrow with Jesse Schul. Jesse will be taking a look at the Seattle Seahawks, and I'll be looking at those New York Football Giants. Until the next time, folks, take care. God bless, and thank you for watching.